Shalom. First, I'd like to start off by giving all great honor to Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to teachers, elders, and apostles of great millstone, likewise, brothers, put on this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep and two brothers and sisters. Tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson is titled The Curses versus Process of Elimination, Part 2. Now, I have a highlight here of Part 1, and this is in regards to discretion that was left on the comment board of a lesson I did a couple of days ago. By Elijah Brown 3551, and he said, was American slavery not Jacob's trouble? Was Jim Crow not Jacob's trouble? Was the destruction of Black Wall Street not Jacob's trouble? The Israelites have been mass slaughtered for centuries, okay, and he's correct about that. We are still being slaughtered. And for Part 1, I went into the Jim Crow era, Black Wall Street, slavery, and showed that those were part of the curses pursuant to Deuteronomy 28. And, I brought out a couple other scriptures in regards to how these curses are still upon us, but are now being transitioned over to the other tribes, and if you look in the headlines, you can see these Edomites in particular are catching hell, pursuant to Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7, okay, where the Lord Yahweh Shemashai would put these curses on our enemies, okay. And so I'm going to go into Part 2, okay, and we're going to go into the process of elimination, okay, which is Jacob's trouble, because through Jacob's trouble, okay, which is going to be like a time unlike any that we've ever gone through, okay, since, we've been regenerating over and over and over and over, okay, what people will call, reincarnation, okay, coming back in the flesh again and again to serve your sentence, okay. It's going to be the final, okay, process of elimination of the rebellious children of Israel, okay, and we know that's Jacob's trouble. Let's start with a scripture, and as always, when I do my lesson, I always like to try to put, some pictures or AI clip or something like that I create, to try to emphasize the subject, or to bring it out. So, because some people learn by visual, animation and stuff like that. So let's start off with our first scripture. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 4, and starting with verse 17, it reads, "For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of power. And if it first began at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of power?" Okay, and we use the word power to describe God, okay, the Most High, Yahweh Shai. Okay, so the judgment is going to start with us. Okay, that judgment is already started right now. You see, the women are starting to catch hell. Okay, Jake's, now finding themselves being ignored by the very same government or princes here in Great Babylon, America, that they've come to trust. Okay, you've seen right now, the talk of making America great again, which means make America white again. Okay, let's go back to the old days of hanging and lynching and killing these Negroes and putting them in their place. And you're seeing that battle cry right now that's going. And this is the Lord Yahweh Shai that's stirring up this devil to bring the world into actual chaos. Okay, but we are going to see this judgment really start to manifest heavily on the children of Israel. It says, "And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?" So here it is, you have a set of men that are going out there on the highway in the Bible and this unicorn daily, bringing out live lessons, bringing out pre-recorded lessons, going into the scriptures, going into the headlines, using their life example, okay, and as a tool to try to edify the sheeps, okay, the believers, okay. However, you have a large proportion of our tribe, okay, the 12 tribe of Israel, that are unbelievers and that refuse to hearken to the words that are coming. So right now, we have all, been very bad to the Lord Yahweh Shemashai. We did not, keep the statutes and the commandments, and hence why we all went through slavery, hence why we all catching hell. Okay, but there's 1/3 that is going to be saved through this. Okay, and it's going to be barely saved. The Lord Yahweh Shemashai is pissed, man. Don't think that he's some smiling old man. Okay, he's pissed. Okay, and now Mashiach was the only one that could who could shed his blood, that was going to redeem, okay, the 130 that can redeem Israel overall, okay, in the heavenly kingdom. Let's go into Jeremiah chapter 30 and starting with verse 4, and it reads, "And these are the words that the Lord Yahweh Shai spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah," okay, not in the southern kingdom. "For thus said the Lord Yahweh Shai, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace." Now, you notice Jake asks about, slavery. Well, slavery, think about it, we were a product, okay, an investment for these rich people who had us over here working on these plantation and sugarcane plantation and in the fields and the railroad and those things like that. So they fed you, yeah, they beat you, and they did some bad things to you like that. But at the end of the day, we were an investment. In this time, okay, we're not an investment to Esau anymore. Esau has already, used who he's going to use, these celebrities, certain athletes, certain rappers, certain entertainers, certain Jakes, okay, who are able to, basically be an example, okay, albeit, a negative example, a wicked example to Jakes, so Jakes could continue to pursue wickedness versus pursuing righteousness. But there's going to come a time when Esau is not going to need those people anymore, and they're going to be caught off guard that they know they weren't special, that they were just really niggas. Okay, it says, "I see now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness." When you come to the realization, if you don't know that the Lord Yahweh Shai is bringing this judgment, and this is the reason why the hopefully lack earnestly pray, okay, with fear and trembling to the Lord Yahweh Shai, that we be spared of it, or at least our death be quick, or we die for righteousness' sake and not just die as a nigger, okay, or a speck. The terror that this man is going to bring upon us is going to be as such that the man that you see walking around right now, dreadlocks, all crazy, psychopath, all doing all kinds of craziness, and Jake is going to get their licks in on this side, which is going to have Egypt in terror, okay. Jake should be a terror unto Egypt, but at the conclusion of that, which these elites, they're going to allow Jake to run ramsack and just go wild, buck wild, and then they're going to bring out the big guns, okay. And imagine you being a so-called Negro or Latino man or Native American man, 6'5", you're big and strong, and and you can't even step out your house, you're scared to even go look for food, you're scared to even step out. Basically, there's going to be a hit on just the children of Israel. Just think about it. There's going to be a hit on all of us, okay. And while this lesson will not go into the people piled up on dead bodies, piled up all through these cities like dung, and nobody burying them, I mean, it's just you just think of any type of horror movie that you've seen, like The Walking Dead, or even some of these like video games genre, like that goes into these apocalyptic type scenarios, and that you can see how this is going to look, okay. Except mainly the children of Israel is going to be really experiencing this, and these other nations too, they'll be impacted. But you can see men are becoming like women, okay. They're scared, okay, and so much so to the point where you're seeing dark-skinned men looking almost pale, okay. The blood is just like leaving their body with absolute fear, okay. And it says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he should be saved out of it." So that's the hope and the gleam of hope that we have here, okay, is that we're going through a time so horrific. It's not slavery, it's not Jim Crow. They just wanted to be separated, which we should have stayed separated from them, okay, because what ended up happening as we integrated, okay. Now Jake has the mindset and the wicked spirits of these Edomites on them now, okay. So you can't even tell the difference between a wicked Jake and an Edomite, okay, because the only difference is the skin color, really, okay. And a lot of these wicked Jakes are basically really Edomites. A lot of them that look at these tears, a lot of them are tears, okay. And it says, "For it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Shemashai, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him." but they shall serve the Lord. Yahweh shall their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. So there's going to come a time, we're going to go through that. You can have the mark of the beast that's going to be prevalent. You can have, none of the snaps, none of those things going to be going on. It's just going to be every man for himself. Okay, and even Jakes that decided they're going to try to stick with the so-called white man, take the mark of the beast, try to kiss his ass, all that stuff. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work because we have to be judged, as the disobedient children from the Lord, Yahweh Shai. But the elect will be saved, and will be the first ones into the kingdom, under the rulership of Yahweh, the 12 apostles, and then you have King David, and then you have the 144,000, and then you have the 1/3, a great multitude. So there's going to be quite a bit. We're all not going to be wiped out. The thing is that you have to know, you have to really, serve the Lord, Yahweh Shai, fear and trembling, and understand, and hope that you're on that list of people, that is going to be saved. Let's go into the book of Ezekiel 14 and start in verse 20. And it reads, though Noah, Daniel, and Jacob were in it, as I live, said the Lord, power, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter. They shall but deliver their own souls by their righteousness. This is why we have to work on our own salvation. You have to work on your own salvation. You could be with a group, you could be with a camp of 15, 20 guys like that. If you just showing up just because they have barbecue and drinks afterward and talk shit afterward, hey, what is that doing? Do the work, do the work. You gotta work on your own salvation. You gotta work for your own crown. This isn't this why we all work collectively together like that. It's still an individual thing. None of us can save each other. None of us can save each other. You can give all the salutations, you can give all the pat on the back, you can open up your wallet all day and give money to brothers. It makes no difference. At the end of the day, if you're not part of the elect, you're gonna be doomed here in Great Babylon, America. It says, but thus said the Lord power, how much more when I send my 4 sword judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword and the famine and the noisome beast and the pestilence to cut off from it man and beast. And this is why you see the background picture here, with what I showed us, the pestilence, the famine, and the beast, and that little peewee, that kiwi looking man there with the beak, that's always a sign of pestilence, and I put that in the description box. The sword is that helicopter along with the military force, the famine, which is that skinny looking picture there, and the beast. All of these are going to be part of the judgment that we're going to go through. This is how terrible Jacob's trouble is going to be. So it's not going to be just only Esau looking to hang you from trees and throw you in prison camps and all that stuff like that. You still have the judgment of disease, because our men and women are very promiscuous, especially our women. You have the sword that's coming after you. Jake's going to be killing Jakes. Esau's going to be killing Jakes. Esau, Jake's going to be joining Esau to kill Jakes. You have the beasts of the field. The animals are going to be hungry, wild. They're going to be multiplying because they're not going to be spaded. You have Esau, who's a mad scientist, creating some new beasts that has been described in the scriptures as having sparks in their eyes and shooting and spitting out acid, man. So the Lord Yahweh Shai really is going to judge Great Babylon horribly. So this is going to be part of that judgment that we're going to be getting. Let's go into the book of Philippians 2 and verse 12, and it reads, wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but how much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. I was just talking about that. So Yahweh Shai is not looking at you. He's not standing there looking at you. We can't see the angels. Yahweh Shai is not looking at you. It's been passed down from, the apostles to the brethren, to, you have to have your own integrity. You have to have integrity. You have to do the work. You have to do what's right. It's not a show for the camera. That could look really good, and you get people who have really good, stage performance, and, they're good on the camera, and they're a piece of shit once it turns off. And then you have those that just, they're not into the limelight and all that stuff, for that you do the right thing. And that's basically what it all comes down to, is just having integrity and doing what's right. And the Lord Yahweh Shai, he sees all things. So it's not about impressing man. A man can't save us. A man cannot save you. Let's go into 2 Ezra 16 and start verse 68, because you have to think about this. How horrible Jacob's trouble is going to be, and you're going to know that you're in Jacob's trouble. You're going to know if you're if you're embedded in this ministry, okay, whether you are out there teaching or whether you are a follower of the brothers where you listening and you taking heed, okay, you are going to know you're in Jacob's trouble. Says, for behold, the burning rod of a great multitude is kindled over you, and it shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. So we're going to get the MOTB offered. You're going to have Esau trying to test our faith, starving us, waterboarding us, trying to get us to eat the abominable food, all those things. Okay, so we got a test still to come. We could talk to you all day about all these things like that, but then, we're going to have to do the walk at some point. And it says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and reproach and trodden under foot. So all that time you was out there doing the ministry, and all of a sudden you just break just like that. You break just for a little bit of pain. Because remember, the Mashiach said, be faithful unto death. Be faithful unto death. Be faithful unto death. No matter how much temptation Esau try to bring you and persuade you to believe that you're not going to be saved by some invisible power, that no one has ever seen, or whatever the case is like that. And this man's going to come with all kinds of stuff there and promise you the world. He might try to persuade you with women. He might try to persuade you with, extra MOTB tokens, or whatever the case is like that, lavish lifestyle, whatever the case is like that. You have to stand ground. We pray to Yahweh Shemashah that he would put the spirit in us to do that. It says, for there should be in every place in their cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, which is the 12 tribe of Israel. You see that happening right now. Look outside, Jake. Take a look, man. ICE everywhere, agents everywhere. You get that Charlie Brown guy, and he, there's a whole set of people that has risen up. You have these, KKK rappers that are coming up and saying, hang them from trees and the sun downtown. I mean, they're emboldened, man. They're ready for blood. They don't want to be nice anymore. And you're going to see it. You're going to experience it. Okay? He said they should be like madman, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Okay? And, it could even say, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. So that's what's happening right now. You're starting to see that's happening right now. Who's getting cast out their house and getting their stuff taken away? It's Jake's right now. They're calling you illegal immigrant. They can call you terrorist, all kinds of stuff for that. So you got to prepare yourself for that. And if you think being quiet and not saying anything, not speaking against this man is going to somehow, not shine a spotlight on you, the fact that you'd actually even throw a comment up here on any brother's board, that already said that you already subscribe, okay, to the prophets who are teaching here on YouTube, and you're already a target, okay, so you're not going to get out of this, okay. This is Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8. It reads, and it shall come to pass, then all the land, said the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, 2 parts therein should be cut off and die, but the 3rd part should be left therein. And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and I will hear them, and I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is my power. You have to know the name. If these camps are there not teaching you that, I strongly suggest stop wasting your time watching them and watch the camps that are actually going to teach it the way it should be taught. You have to know the name. You have to call on to the Lord's name, okay? No matter how powerful, how strong you are, what you got, we have to call on him to be saved. And you best believe we can be in such dire straits. We are going to be screaming his name, okay? You can be screaming his name. It says that the men are going to be so scared that they'll be like women, like trembling, okay? Like women. And that's good, and that's going to be these men out there who don't know that everything that's happening, the deaths that are so horrific that you're going to see dead bodies and dead babies and kids and things happening to women, animals tearing people apart, people dying of some weird disease that you can't even begin to even comprehend except what you see in these Hollywood movies. And just the America that you see right now. I'm looking out my window as I speak and do this lesson. Nice garden, nice houses around me, and I can eat. And it's just going to be gloomy, just horrific. And you got to mentally prepare yourself for that, Jake. That's going to be Jacob's trouble, man. Okay? We're going to be a target. There's going to be constantly under stress. Okay? This is Matthew 24, start verse 21, and it reads, for then should be great tribulation, such as not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, not ever should be. Boy, it's going to be horrible. Beginning. We don't even know when the beginning of the earth is, okay? But we've read through history some of the horrible things that's happened. So this is in letter. So the Mashiach is telling you this is going to be so bad, okay, that has never been like it. It says, and except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. For the elect's sake, that those days should be shortened. So for the sake of the elect, and the whole world should be thankful for this, because for the sake of the elect, all of humanity is now wiped out of existence, man. When these countries start fighting each other, you know, Russia against America and all these other countries start going like that, it's just gonna be non-stop slaughter fest. Okay, and this is what you're gonna have to think of as part of Jacob's trouble. Is also going to be the fact that it's going to also be a world war that's going on too. It's just constant. Just every tribe is just fighting. Okay, let's close out with the book of Ecclesiastes 16. Start verse 16 says, "Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself?" Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so yeah, we have this truth and everything like that, but the Mashiach, he died for us. We can be wicked, but at the same time too, there's no way in hell we can follow all the laws. Don't even try. Okay, you do the best that you can do. Okay, we have the Day of Atonement that's coming like that with 24 hours of really giving your letting your body go through some hell, like not drinking and not eating. Okay, things like that. The Sabbath, all those things. Not eating abominable food. Okay, all these things. But in the says here, it says, "Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time?" So don't try to test the Lord and think that, if you jump off a building, somehow he's going to give you wings and you're going to fly. Or if you stand up in front of Esau, these sentries, and, dare them to shoot you, that somehow the angel is going to step in the way and block the bullet. Nah, dude, don't do it like that. Okay, when the time comes, when the Lord is going to show and demonstrate to Esau who he is, okay, it's just gonna come natural. Okay, we just gonna be calling his name and he's going to defend us, and that's it. Okay, so to close out Elijah, okay, it says, "Was American slavery not Jacob's trouble?" No. Was Jim Crow's not Jacob's trouble? No. Was the destruction of Black Wall Street not Jacob's trouble? No. Okay, those are all part of the curses. We are still under the curses. Jacob's troubles is going to be a unique experience, unlike anything that we've ever experienced in these other nations. Will have the pleasure or the displeasure of also partaking in Jacob's trouble. Okay, so Lord will indeed lack was edified. That goes away, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.